Okay, let's talk about one of the greatest adventure stories ever told. I'm talking, of course, about Homer's Odyssey. It's all about Odysseus, right? This super cunning Greek hero who basically won the Trojan War with his brain. But here's the crazy part. His biggest, most epic battle wasn't even at Troy. Nope. It was the 10-year, monster-packed journey just to get back home.
And that really is the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, think about it. The guy's already been away fighting a war for a solid 10 years. They won. The ships are packed and ready to go. So what could possibly turn a simple trip home into another 10-year nightmare? Well, as it turns out, pretty much everything.
So what you've got here is this massive conflict. On one side, Odysseus has a really simple, really human goal. He just wants to get home to his wife Penelope and his son Telemachus. But on the other side, oh man, you've got angry gods, terrifying monsters, and this is super important, his own flaws. We're talking about his pride, this thing the Greeks called hubris, and the endless greed of his crew. So you see, this isn't just a story of a guy fighting monsters, it's a story of a guy fighting himself. All right, so let's start at the beginning. The Trojan War is finally over, and the ships are heading home. But the journey gets off to a really, really bad start. And it all leads to this one huge mistake. A mistake that's going to haunt Odysseus for the next 10 years. I mean, right out of the gate, it's just one problem after another. Their very first stop, at a place called Ismara, turns into this bloody raid they barely escape from. Then bam, a storm hits and blows them way off course to the island of the Lotus Eaters. And here, the danger isn't some monster, it's a fruit. A fruit that's basically a drug that makes you forget everything you care about. Your home, your family, gone. The crew just wants to chill out and eat this stuff forever. Odysseus literally has to force them, kicking and screaming, back onto the ship. So now they're desperate for food, and they find this cave that looks perfect. It's full of cheese and meat, but then the owner comes home. And it's a Cyclops named Polyphemus, who also just happens to be the son of Poseidon, the sea god. Now, in ancient Greece, there was the sacred rule of hospitality, xenia, that was a huge deal. But this giant, he doesn't care. He rolls a giant boulder in front of the cave entrance, trapping them inside, and then he starts eating them, 2 at a time. Horrifying. Okay, but this is where you see why Odysseus is a legend. He knows brute force won't work here. I mean, even if they could kill the giant, they'd still be trapped by that massive rock door. So he uses his brain. First, he gets the Cyclops wasted on some super strong wine. Then he tells him his name is Nobody. Pure genius. Then they blind him with a giant sharpened stake. And finally, they sneak out by clinging to the bellies of his sheep. It's just a masterclass in how to outsmart a problem that seems totally impossible. And this is it. The big mistake. They're on the ship, they're sailing away, they're home free, but Odysseus, his pride, his ego, it just gets the better of him. He can't resist shouting back at the blinded giant. He just has to let him know who did this. He yells out his real name. And in that single moment of pure arrogance, he makes a catastrophic, journey-altering mistake. And here's the consequence. Because now the Cyclops knows exactly who to blame. He cries out to his father, who, remember, is Poseidon, the actual god of the sea, and asks him for revenge. And Poseidon answers with this devastating curse. It basically lays out a prophecy. Odysseus will lose every single one of his men. He'll wander the sea for 10 long years, and if he ever makes it home, he'll be a broken man. The whole terrible journey is now set in stone. So, with the god of the sea actively trying to destroy him, the journey enters a whole new phase. This isn't about bad luck anymore. Now, we're talking about sorcery, sirens, and some truly terrifying sea monsters. And you won't believe this next part, they get so close to home. The king of the winds, Aeolus, gives Odysseus this bag with all the storm winds trapped inside, so they have a straight shot home. Ithaca is literally in sight. But his crew, they get greedy, they think the bag is full of treasure, so while Odysseus is asleep, they open it. Whoosh! All the winds escape at once, creating this massive storm that blows them right back to where they started. Just heartbreaking. After that huge setback, it's like the world just keeps throwing nightmares at them. First, they run into these bloodthirsty cannibal giants who smash all their ships to pieces, except for the one Odysseus is on. Then, the few survivors land on an island ruled by Circe, a powerful witch who casually turns his men into pigs. And even after he outsmarts her, he can't leave. They're stuck there for a whole year. And to top it all off, to get home, she tells him he has to go to the underworld first. Yep, the land of the dead. So, coming back from the underworld, Odysseus now has to face a bunch of impossible choices. First up, the sirens. These creatures whose singing is so beautiful, it makes sailors crash their ships on the rocks. Odysseus has his crew plug their ears with wax. But he, ever the curious hero, has them tie him to the mast so he can hear the song and live. But then comes the truly awful part, a narrow strait, with Scylla, a six-headed monster on one side, and Charybdis, a giant whirlpool that swallows the sea, on the other. He has to pick one. It's a guaranteed loss situation. He makes the terrible choice to sail closer to Scylla, sacrificing 6 men to save the ship. But after all this horror, Odysseus and his exhausted crew are at their absolute breaking point. And it's here, at their lowest, that one last mistake is made. A mistake that's going to cost him absolutely everything. So they get stranded on this island, and after a month they've run out of food completely. Now, this island just so happens to be home to the sacred cattle of Helios, the sun god. And they've been warned multiple times, do not, under any circumstances, touch these cows. But, they're starving. So while Odysseus is asleep, his men give in, they slaughter the cattle and have a feast. The punishment for this is swift, and it is absolute. The sun god complains to Zeus, the king of the gods, who waits until their ship is back at sea and then smashes it to bits with a lightning bolt. The ship is obliterated. Every single man drowns. Just like that, Poseidon's curse is fulfilled. The only one left alive is Odysseus. Clinging to a piece of his ship, he eventually washes up on this beautiful island. It's the home of the goddess Calypso, and she holds him there for 7 years. And she offers him the ultimate deal. Stay with me, be my husband, and I'll make you immortal, an actual god. But he says no. Every single day, he refuses paradise. He just sits on the beach and cries, because all he wants more than anything is to go home to his mortal wife and his kingdom. That feeling, that longing for home, the Greeks called it nostos, and it's the heart of the whole story. Finally, after all that suffering, the gods on Olympus decide to cut him a break. Zeus sends a message to Calypso, let him go. So he builds a raft, survives one last megastorm sent by Poseidon, and finally, he gets help to make the last leg of his journey home. But after being gone for 20 years, just stepping foot on Ithaca is far from the end of his story. His biggest challenge is just beginning. So, with a little magical help from the goddess Athena, Odysseus shows up in his own kingdom disguised as a frail old beggar. And what he finds is just awful. His palace is completely overrun by more than 100 arrogant young noblemen. They're all trying to force his wife Penelope to marry one of them, and in the meantime, they're eating all his food, drinking all his wine, basically trashing the place. They are the worst house guests in history. And this is where the whole epic story comes to a head. First, Odysseus secretly reveals himself to his son Telemachus, and they make a plan. Then, Penelope announces a contest. Whoever can string Odysseus' massive bow and shoot an arrow through 12 axe heads can marry her. Of course, all the suitors try and fail miserably. Then the old beggar asks for a turn. They all laugh at him, but he picks up the bow, strings it without any effort, and makes the impossible shot. And just like that, the laughter stops. The king is back. And with his son by his side, he unleashes 20 years of pent-up fury on every single suitor in the room. So, the suitors are defeated. The kingdom is his again. Order is restored. But there's still one thing left. The one thing that kept him going through all of it. The monsters, the witches, the angry gods, all of it. The reunion with his wife, Penelope. This is the moment the entire 20-year journey was about. After 20 years of being apart, after so much pain and loss, Penelope finally recognizes and embraces her husband. And she asks him the question that's been on her mind for 2 decades, the same question we started with. Where have you been? And Odysseus, after everything he's seen and done, just looks at her, and his answer says it all. Where do I begin? And really, how else could you possibly start to tell a story like that?